Good evening, everyone. Very happy New Year to all our viewers. We are back with our 8th episode of Toast the Talk on the Toast Network. We've been doing a lot of other shows on the side. Just a quick shout out to our first show, which is uh, Toast the Toast Net, which is about cricket. And we have our 25th episode coming up next week. So stay glued on to that. We have started our tennis sessions, which we had our second episode today evening. And the one that I'm most obviously biased towards is Toast the Talk, our F1 show, everything F1 that fans in India and around are looking forward to talk about, hear about. We're going to try something very different today. But before we try that something different, I would like to introduce our panelists. We are probably seeing after a year, after what was an exciting, crazy 2021. We've said this time and again, Netflix can actually fire all its scriptwriters for the 2021 Drive to Survive show because there's just enough raw content out there. With that, I'd like to quickly introduce our panelists for today. Up front, we have Kazim. Kazim,
hey everyone. Hey everyone. I would just like to say one thing. I think Netflix put all of its budget for script writing, and I think they just gave it to Michael Massey, so he was responsible for most of the things. So I think that's how it's gonna go.
Yeah, Massey, you have a lot of fans on this show, double quotes. The biggest fan of Massey, Twinkle.
Yeah, no, today I have no problems with Massey because I'm no longer a Mercedes fan, just for today though. So I think I'm okay with the events that transpired in the last race.
Welcome aboard, Twinkle. Last but not the least, Vignesh, who's been keeping himself busy with non-F1 racing sports in this lull period. Welcome back, Vignesh. And what's been keeping you on your toes?
Thanks, Vivek. I would say that, okay, F1 can now officially rebrand themselves as the script writing and the entertainment partner as Netflix because they go in tandem. And of course, Netflix can also put the drama partner as Formula One. That can done. Yeah, but over the off season, I have seen a lot of racing in terms of the Extreme E, the Dakar Rally, and a lot of other things, including some news in the Formula E and the Formula One paddock. So with that, over to you.
I just want to butt in.
Yeah, Kazim, go ahead.
Whatever decision was made. So you can see it from the evidence, whatever comments we are trying to make. Yeah, sorry about that. Back to you, Vivek.
I think just to get over it, I took a hiatus from everything that has anything to do with a car. And therefore, I have tried to stay as far away from any Formula E1, 2, whatever news as far as possible. So
yeah, and in that regard, I have stopped drinking Monster Energy and I only drink Red Bull.
I'm going to try and stay away from the last race as much as possible because I know it'll hit a lot of raw veins. But we're changing the format a bit. We decided to do a quiz where the questions do matter to some extent, but the points don't. And I, as the host, get to decide whatever points I want to give all of you. And
freestyling like Massey.
But at the end of it, the winner gets to be a fanatic of the show. And rule 1, as I highlighted, free to give you as many points. If you do put in additional trivia around it that I find interesting enough, I might just be Professor Dumbledore and throw in a few more points for you Gryffindor fans. And the general rule here is it's going to be a connect and context kind of question bank. So it's going to be a couple of images. Try to see what they could all connect to as. I will try to drop in hints because, like I highlighted to all of you, this isn't a quizzing contest where I'm testing your GK. Right? We are not grilling the grid in this case, though you should check out that show. And it's just interesting, some of the answers that you get to hear from the drivers on the track getting tested on their GK. But the idea is here to have a conversation around what the year was through this new format. All of you ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
And if anyone has a problem, we'll have an investigation later, which would be declared soon.
No. There's
Which
no
will be
investigation later. I take a decision.
No, and I guess even if there is an investigation, it will be headed by Vivek. So there's
Yeah.
that.
Yes. Yes.
Yep, that's full and final there. And
I
in terms
think
of
we should be renaming this to roast the FN and not roast the talk.
roast the talk. Cool. Anyways, in terms of the question, feel free to, speak up. We're not really doing buzzers today. Right, and let's get up with our first question, which is connect and context.
Jeddah.
And why do you say
What
Jeddah?
is the
This the circuit is the Jeddah street circuit,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
that's it. And
That
what
is
is the
actually,
question though?
yeah, the question is to figure out what's happening. Like, what are these images for?
Oh,
And
I see. Okay.
right, so Jeddah Street Circuit is correct.
Yeah.
Debut, obviously, debut track, lot of drama behind the scenes. Anything you guys want to share from your experiences of Jeddah before the race, at the race, after the race?
Jeddah was an interesting race, I believe, because it had the most numbers of, I would say, safety cars, most number of dramas. And of course, it was the first time in the F1 history when actually Hamilton got, I would say, brake tested by Verstappen, and then the entire ensuing drama after it made for a relative fest. I want Netflix series on it, probably only on Jeddah, a 10 episode series would do the job.
Yeah, Jeddah was an interesting one. I was actually really scared after the qualifying because I thought that Verstappen was, I think, on his finest lap ever on the qualifying on Q3. And I actually thought that we've lost the championship there. But I had no idea that Masi had other plans. But anyway, so so that was pretty. It was actually very intense. I thought so when you're looking at the game. I also play the F1 games. I've seen that the track actually looks a lot wider than it really is. So when I finally saw them on the practice sessions, I was really scared that this was not at all a safe track. But ended up being pretty safe. Besides the marshals having to jump in on their own and clearing the debris from the track, I think besides that, I think it was a pretty interesting and a pretty great race.
In fact, quoting by an F1 legend, he calls Nürburgring as the green hell. I call Jeddah as the street hell.
It was crazy. I mean, the speeds that they could hit, and especially those turns, right? Where you could see that there were literally centimeter feels like a lot of gap, probably like nanometers away from the edge. And it was scary every time that we were going through that. And obviously, Verstappen had like a dream of a qualifying till that last moment.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts that you had, Kazim, from that?
So actually, sorry, one last thing that I want to say is that this is the fastest constructed F1 circuit in the history of F1 circuit construction. So this was, I think, constructed in less than 200 days or 200 to 250 days or something of that sort. But yeah, so that's an engineering marvel as well that way.
Yeah, and they cut it really close, right? Like till I think even the week before, everyone was like, will they get it ready? Will it be ready or not?
For a minute, I was like,
before, I guess.
Yeah.
Even 2 days, they were making certain changes to the track. The first practice got delayed. So people were actually thinking whether it might even happen or not.
You know, for a moment, the way the construction was going, I was thinking that the entire Formula One race would be going after a safety car, behind a safety car called as a road roller. That would be rolling the track and we would be racing behind it.
Okay, anyways, quick trivia. Like there is a car over there, F1 car in the picture.
Largest Lego car.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what is the connection? Like, it's a Lego car, and I think it's a tribute to the Saudi Arabian flag. That's why you
Yep.
have the green color there.
Armaco,
Yeah.
right? Armaco is the official sponsor from
Aramco.
Saudi Arabia.
Aramco.
Aramco is the official sponsor for that, and they built this car, largest ever F1.
Yep, it's on the Guinness Book of World Records for using
Wow.
504,000 plus Lego bricks to create the
Interesting.
largest Lego brick Formula One car. And it's in the Saudi flag colors. That was my hint in case you didn't realize from the track. But this is the Jeddah Grand Prix, which turned out to be super exciting before the race, during the race, and obviously after the race. Because after this race, we ended up in a scenario that we haven't seen in a long time, where
Yeah.
both the championship potential winners were tied up before they went into the final race.
Yeah.
So Saudi truly, all the drama we wanted, it
When was
provided
the
it.
last time this happened? Was this in?
It was
2000
nice. It was
I think
actually
it was
quite
somewhere
a
around
while
30
back.
years around, right? I don't
Yeah,
remember
Yeah,
the
I
last
think
time it happened.
was it Mansell and someone, was it? Or was it
I
I
think
don't
wasn't it
remember.
Senna or
actually.
Prost or something? I guess.
Yeah,
I think
but
someone
Yeah, okay.
crashed and then
Hmm.
they took the championship because of the
Yeah.
winning.
No, so you're
Mhm.
actually, there are a couple of stories there, and
The
everyone has a very different background to it, and we'll come to it in some time because I've got something lined up on
Yeah.
that.
also
I think
one
you're
more
stepping
thing,
on his passions.
Vivek. One more fun fact about this Saudi Arabian GP is, like as you said, after both were equal on points, and the last time when the same thing happened, both the championship were also on the tie with that 0.5.
Oh,
So
interesting.
that's
Wow.
one interesting fact from both the cases. Is like both the ties were on that 0.5, including that 0.5 points.
And that was because of a washed out race where they couldn't complete it. So everyone got 50% of the points, and that's where the 0.5 came in. But
Yeah.
with that, Vignesh, I won't give you 0.5, but I'll give you full 10 points. And with that, moving on to our next question. Again, would seem very random, but throw your hats out and let me know what you can figure out from these pictures. And I'm going to put my disclaimer. It sounds very random. If you're a hardcore quizzer, it doesn't sound that random. But
Is it Bottas bowling out everyone? Ian Bowling is I think the umpire, and I don't know. So Hungary is a place where I think so he bowled out
Yeah.
Max and Perez. So yeah, that's the connection.
Everyone actually.
Yeah.
that is an interesting take, but that's actually Paul Shepard, the umpire. Whenever anyone scores, like any of the teams score 111, 222, multiples of 111, he sort of goes on one leg.
Oh.
Okay.
And that is a tribute to the person on the left, which is Admiral Lord Nelson.
Okay.
The man is supposed to be so lucky or unlucky, the way you want to take it, that he continued to be an admiral with one eye, one hand, one leg.
Wow.
All of these lost through various
Perseverance.
battles. So whether you call that lucky or unlucky, it's up to you. But 111 is called the Nelson's number.
Wow.
Oh, so
So
the
it is
101st
1011.
race winner, right? The new race winner. I think that's what you're getting at.
Or
Yes,
1011
Kazim is on the
races.
right track.
So
The 111th
race winner.
Grand Prix
New.
winner
Oh.
was christened at Hungary.
Mhm.
Any guesses on who that
Ocon.
was?
Ocon.
Ocon.
Esteban Ocon.
Esteban Ocon, indeed.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Right. And I mean, I think that was an exciting race to what you mentioned with Bottas sort of doing his clean sweep, and it
Bowling out.
really changed the entire balance of the racing order. And I had to sneak in Fernando Alonso there just because
Yeah.
Like a
His
lion.
exciting defense.
that was one of the
Yeah.
best defenses we've seen. And I'm
Yeah.
sure Ocon had to thank Alonso a lot for how he managed to keep him out there, because if this has gone into a few more laps, I don't think Ocon would
How
have
much?
I know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically, like Ocon's the trophy which he's holding. represents like an urn, and that is like Hamilton's race victory has been like crushed and put it into an urn, and he's showing like, see, Alonso helped me in this.
I would like to celebrate with your ashes.
Yes.
That went super dark, super quick. But cricketing trivia over there for everyone wondering why it's called the Ashes. But what were your take from the Hungarian race and obviously Ocon winning it? Bright future for him.
I think one thing I would like to say here is,
There's actually
Ocon
another. Yeah.
is always underrated. I mean, he's underrated a lot, and people always doubt his qualities. As he got a really good contract extension with Alpine, and people were like, shitting
Yeah.
on it and saying like he doesn't deserve it. Why does he deserve a 2-year extension and so on? I think Ocon took his time and proved it in 2021, saying like, okay, hey, I do deserve it. I do deserve to be in F1. That's just my take. Sorry, Twinkle, you were saying something.
No, I was just pondering on something. It's nothing. We can go ahead.
The point is Hungary was another example where actually Mercedes fucked up with the strategy. They didn't call.
I thought 2021 was an example.
Yeah, but more than that, Hungary was their first time when they actually could have called Hamilton inside the pit so that Ocon would never have gone in front of him, but they made that mistake. So that was like the first nail in the coffin for Mercedes in the entire 2021 season. That's one thing which I wanted to note it.
Yeah. No, I think there are numerous examples now in hindsight, obviously.
Yeah.
Where Mercedes did, like this tiny strategy mistakes.
Yeah.
Which didn't seem so big at that point, but when you finally look at it, they all played in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Ocon being celebrating, if Hamilton retires, he is dubbed to be the next replacement for him. So yeah.
I thought
what are your personal takes on that, right? Like there's a lot of rumors going around that if Hamilton does end up doing a Rosberg and just disappears, who could take that seat? So one is who could take that seat, and second question would be who would you like to see take that seat?
I think Vettel is a possibility. Vettel might take that seat because they won't want anybody who's going to stay there for a very long time. Because with Hamilton also, I think it was just for 2 years. And I think who should get the seat, I do have a very soft spot for Pierre because of his sheer talent. So I personally, I think my take would be Pierre.
I mean, as much as, a pairing of Gasly and Russell is really exciting, two young drivers who will be trying to make their mark. I still like to go ahead with the old fashioned, one experience and the one younger rookie on the lookout. So I would like to say like, hey, bring back Bottas. Why not Bottas? Because if you bring back Bottas,
yeah, that's also
the guy knows the Merc machinery in and out. He can definitely do a lot of things. And hey, for at least once in my life, I would like to see James. I would rather not hear James it's Valtteri, please take a step back. Rather, I would like to hear James. It's sorry, yeah. Not
sorry,
I
James.
just say like George, it's James, yeah. I think like I messed it up,
yeah.
Seeing that who could is Bottas, you have Vettel, you have Ocon, but who I want to see is Nico Hülkenberg.
Wow.
Bring him back. That guy has shown potentials in Renault. He was consistently gaining points in a Renault engine, which is like VW, the GP2 engines. So with Mercedes, he will be, and probably who knows, with Mercedes, he might get his first podium ever, which he has been longing for so long time.
Okay, with you going with Hülkenberg, now my idea doesn't seem so bad. I was going to say Raikkonen could probably come back. Because he fits what Kazim spoke about, that the senior junior dynamic also, because I think Mercedes would not want to risk two young drivers battling it out themselves, trying to prove their supremacy there and them losing out from a constructors championship. So I think they would want to go for someone senior. And all of this, by the way, viewers, is if, and that's a big if Hamilton decides to disappear. Personally, I don't think he is.
Touchwood,
He is
I don't
a very
want him to
passionate
go.
driver.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's going to prove his critics wrong by getting back into the driving seat and proving them all wrong.
So
I think he's
one
also
Hamilton,
Yeah,
I think
go ahead,
one
sorry.
Hamilton trivia on Hungaroring, I guess, is the only other circuit where he has 8 GP wins besides
Yeah.
Silverstone, besides his home GP. And I think another, I'm not very sure of it, which is why I will be confused of whether I should say it or not. But I think Esteban Ocon is the second youngest Frenchman to win a GP. After Pierre that too, and it's just by a few days. But I am not entirely sure of it. But I think he is, because he won in some, I think 24 years and some days, and so did Pierre, 24 years and 30 days, something like that. So yeah, so I think he's the second youngest French GP winner.
Oh,
With that, I'm going to give Kazim 10 points, and Twinkle, I'm going to give you 5 points for the extra trivia. And we will move on to our next question, which is equally random, I think. Yes.
Wow.
oh, easy. All
What?
of them are actually a world champion.
Yeah, but there's 2
Yeah.
Vettels there.
I know. That's where I'm getting confused.
So, okay, just to clear this out, right? Like the 3 empty boxes at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
So is that the
Okay.
missing link that we have to figure out?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for our viewers, why don't you guys even just name out all the people on the screen?
Mark Webber, Vettel, Alonso, Nico Rosberg, Lewis, Vettel.
Hamilton and Vettel again.
Mhm.
So,
World champions, yes. I'll
Yeah.
give you a clue. I purposely put them 3 in a row.
Oh, okay. So how do we see this? 3 in a row or 2?
Yeah. Like, should we see row wise, column wise?
I mean, like
Row wise.
a little bit of a clue, I think, will help,
Yeah.
because I'm still trying to piece together, like, what are we looking at? Is this?
Yeah, so
how we are looking at
each
this?
row is 1 clue or 1 combination.
Okay. So similarly, the third row is going to be third row is what
combination,
we have to
yes.
figure out. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Is it the year? Because I can see Vettel and Mark Webber with Alonso was, I think so, the 2010 to 13 ka period, whereas Hamilton, Nico Rosberg and Vettel. Oh yeah, these are the podium winners. These are the
Yes.
Yeah,
podium winners.
3 podiums
So
together.
you have Nico
Hammer
Rosberg,
got
Hamilton and Vettel. So the next
Hammer
would be
got
Hamilton, Bottas and Max.
That is correct,
The most
Vignesh.
number of podiums. Yeah.
Acha. Most number of
Yeah.
podiums between them. Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't stop Vignesh. The amount of joy he got at the moment he cracked that, that is pure quizzing joy,
Hmm.
right? When something's so random, you just tie those thoughts together and you're like, oh, wow, this makes sense now. That is true. This combination has been on the podium most number of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think whatever we say in terms of the rivalry, these guys have pushed themselves to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
the
I was also
numbers
actually just thinking of, I was also just thinking of that, because I was coming to it from that perspective, Red Bull, and then Ferrari. So I thought, what could this be? This will be a podium probably. So yeah,
No,
that makes the most sense.
you know, Twinkle, the best thing was like, if Vivek, you would not have put Vettel in that Ferrari clothes, nah? That was the giveaway for me. That was the giveaway.
Yeah.
Because why was the above Vettel in the Red
Yeah.
Bull clothes and why was this?
Yeah.
And that's when I stuck the chords.
So I initially, when I was putting the question up, I just copy pasted it. Then I was like, this would make it really random. Let me try and switch it around, see if that helps.
All right. All right.
But yeah, I mean, one question I did have was, Bottas sounds like this unsung hero.
Yeah.
Oh, he is. He is.
No,
Being a team
Bottas to me is like Barrichello to Schumacher.
Hmm.
He is the best wingman a person can ever have. So if you want to win championship and you want a wingman, it would be Bottas or Barrichello. So
What
yeah,
if Bottas wants to
Yeah.
be a world champion?
I mean, you should find another Bottas for him.
yeah.
That's how it's gonna be.
Or probably, or probably get a person whose name starts with a B. Because Barrichello was a wingman, Bottas was a wingman. So get someone whose name starts with a B.
Yeah, Jensen Button would disagree.
Yeah.
But like, yeah,
See,
I
but
think
again, I
uh,
think so. Mark Webber was with during Vettel's time in the Red Bull.
Yeah.
Again, Webber. So you can see that, okay, you can have some great wingmans, but they are not like these two. These are the legends of the wingmans.
I think these guys actually played quite a vital part. I mean, people take pleasure and joy sometimes, taking their time and just uh, putting all kinds of shit on Bottas, saying like and also say trying to, what do I say? Um, trying to even shit on Mercedes, saying like, hey, you didn't give a chance for him. But I think like if you want to win championships, if you want to see some kind of a world champion emerge, I think you need a proper wingman. Like I think we also saw how
Perez.
Checo was helping
Yeah.
Max throughout. I think
There's
his
no way we
legendary
can talk
defense
about.
I know.
Yeah.
is what Max got. Is what got Max the title.
You know,
So
Kazim, there are
Yeah.
only
There's
two
no.
ways. There are only two ways in which you can win a world champion. One is have an excellent wingman like Bottas or Barrichello, or have a fierce rivalry partner within your teammate like Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. The way they pushed,
Or Michael
both were
Masi,
going
but
for, yeah,
yeah.
both were going for that dominance.
Yeah, but Twinkle, you wanted to say something about Checo, right? So
Yeah, no, no. I was just saying that there's no way we can talk about a good wingman without talking about Checo. I mean, you've never seen Bottas fight that hard for Lewis, to be very honest. I mean, I know where most of this discussion comes from, that Bottas doesn't, nobody gives Bottas a chance. And I've never seen Bottas fight like that, the way Checo fought Lewis. I mean, Max was still up and coming. He didn't have the best car. Bottas did have the better car. But it would still be, even in the podium finishing trio, I think it was most 1 and 2 between Hamilton and Verstappen, whereas it should have been Hamilton and Bottas. If Bottas,
yeah.
I'm not trying to, but I'm just sort of
I
saying
mean,
that
defense was not really Bottas's strong suit,
yeah.
but
No,
he
I
did
think
But
deliver
I
whenever
wouldn't
it
want
was
to
required. Yeah.
stereotype
no,
Checo as a wingman
yeah,
because I think
yeah,
he has strong potential to take it to
Yeah.
but
a
he's not.
notch.
Well, he's not gonna get there because I think Red Bull's focus has always been Max. They've thrown people out of the team if they weren't
Helmet Marco.
supportive to Max. We've seen that with
Mission honor.
we've seen that with Pierre as well.
Hmm.
Pierre was trying to battle Max, and that would never fly with Red Bull. So that's never gonna happen. He has to stay a wingman if he wants to stay at Red Bull. But I think so. I've been a hardcore Mercedes fan throughout, and I've seen them race. And every time I think that, oh my God, Bottas is going to defend Shaw and he's going to do an excellent job, and he just doesn't go that one extra mile that you need to, which I saw Perez do through and through in 2021. So I think that's where the difference lies, though.
A fun fact is like Bottas has never complained being a wingman. Many a times Mercedes has actually, in fact, in Hungary itself, he was actually told that, okay, let Lewis pass by. And when Lewis wasn't able to, I think so in the finish line, they swapped positions and Bottas got that third position, Lewis got that fourth. And then in Russia, they once again swapped it. But then Bottas was waiting for that order. Yeah, please swap, please swap. Mercedes did. He never complained. He was like that idle wingman. And he never wanted a championship per se. He just
That
wanted
I
But
would
then,
disagree.
I mean,
I would
I think
disagree
everybody
saying
yeah,
he
wants to
wanted
become
a
a champion,
championship,
man.
but I would agree that he was a
yeah,
good team player.
Hmm,
Like he took his
yeah.
personal ambitions,
yeah.
gave it a hit, and did what the team needed. But I wouldn't say that he never wanted that championship. And if you
Let's
actually want to
Yeah,
rather
strive to
say,
survive, they tend to obviously add more masala into it.
Yeah.
But they
yeah,
bring up that point that he always did want to be
I, I
number
would
one.
I would also go as far as to say, like Bottas is also kind of a Nico Hulkenberg 2.0, where, you know, Nico Hulkenberg couldn't get a podium. Like that podium is something that is always, going away from him. And similarly, I think that's the kind of bad luck Bottas has. I mean, the guy has had
I wouldn't
tons
I
of
wouldn't
bad luck throughout the
necessarily
career.
say that. I mean, I think when Bottas was brought into the picture, Hamilton already had I guess 3 world championships by then. So Mercedes was already focusing on Hamilton, and they only promoted Bottas because they thought that he'd be a wingman. He knew his job, he knew his role. It's like they bought the Red Bull brought in Perez, right? For example. And I think I wouldn't call Bottas unlucky, because imagine if he had never gotten to Mercedes from Williams, then he wouldn't even have had those many number of podiums either. So there's that as well. I mean, I'm not trying to diss on Bottas, although it really
No.
looks like that.
No, but the
right?
point is simple. The reason why I believe Kazim said Bottas was unlucky is because I believe that, okay, in Baku, he could have won. The tire failure cost him. In Monza, he could have won. The skid cost him. So there are many such occasions where, okay, some small things have actually gone against the way of Bottas, where he could have actually won more number of races, but he couldn't.
Yeah. If you
With
give
that,
it to the
Vignesh, I
drivers,
give you. Sorry, yeah, Twinkle, go ahead.
yeah. No, I was just saying that if you give it to the drivers, they'd always call themselves unlucky, because Baku, Hamilton could have won unless his DAS failed. Hamilton would have won the championship, and if Masi wasn't what he is. But there's always a scope for being lucky, unlucky, whatever
And
it
with
is.
time
that,
to
I'm
change the
going to
name of
give
the show.
Vignesh another 10
This
points.
Masi.
Yeah, I don't want to go down the Masi road, so I'll make it any more messy. But another 10 points for Vignesh. And with that, we will move on to our next question.
Baku.
This is Baku, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, this
Do
is
you want to
Baku.
give more context
And
to our viewers?
yeah, so this is 47,
That's the
40,
most
Oh, no.
46,
tire
No.
failures that happen.
46th or 47th lap of Baku, where Max crashed because of his tire puncture, and then Hamilton was sort of leading and could have won the championship, could have won the GP, but had a DAS failure, which is why he's going straight in the first picture, and then Perez goes on to win the GP.
I thought it wasn't the dash failure. It was that magic button failure, right?
DAS. It was a DAS
Hey.
failure.
Yeah, it
This-
was a magic button thing.
This is this year, right? Magic button failure.
Yeah. No,
This
it
year
was
they
a
didn't
DAS
have the
failure.
dash. This year they don't have
no,
dash.
They didn't
No,
have
but
that, right?
there was a report that came out, I guess, which is, I think I read it somewhere on either the F1 site or somewhere, but it was supposedly a DAS failure or something. I thought,
Oh. Okay.
yeah, I'll share that. I actually have that report. I'll share it with you.
No, we trust you on that. But yeah, I think this was another interesting race where, again, for different
Yeah.
reasons, the top 2 contenders went off and we saw some exciting podium finishes. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
personal front, seeing Vettel up there after a long time felt good.
Yeah.
Feliz Navidad or whatever you can say to Checo.
Valid.
So one quick question: do you guys remember who crashed on the last lap again? Right? I mean, there was one more crash after this. Does anybody remember who crashed?
The last lap.
The host is being questioned.
Yeah.
I know. No, it's to all of us. I would love to say Mazepin when in doubt.
Shumi?
It was actually Sainz. Sainz
Oh.
also crashed out in the last
Oh.
lap. Yeah.
You know, one more fun fact was that this was the second time in Azerbaijan when actually Bottas had actually overtaken someone on the start-finish straight to go a position ahead, as he did during his Williams days. I think so. That was the time when he got his first some podium. He was a 3rd position in Williams, and this time he got the 4th place only on the dash to the start-finish straight.
The finish straight. Interesting. But yeah, I mean, I know the sort of front run, we spoke a bit about Checo in the previous conversation, but again, this was well deserved for him.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
unlucky for Hamilton.
No,
So I'm just trying to figure out, like, okay, the first 2 pictures I could connect. What was the 3rd picture? Like, did that have some sort of a connect?
the tire.
The
Yeah,
tires,
there was
right?
Most tire.
there was an inspection or something
Yeah.
that went on after that, right?
Mm.
For-
Yeah, quite a few,
the-
few of the crashes were all blamed on the tires.
Valid.
Yeah.
But more than
failures.
tires, Azerbaijan always had some kind of problem or the other. Like last year, I think so. George Russell was affected by the drain cover incident, and then Leclerc crashed himself and called himself stupid.
I'm stupid.
I am stupid.
The
And
meme, the rise of the meme.
yes, the right. So in that way, Baku always gives us some or the other good news in terms of
And
racing.
I mean, what I love about Baku is when the cameraman spans out, right? And you see these beautiful historical buildings right
Yeah.
next to the racing circuit. I think that the landscape is so unique and different. And then when you pan out a little more, you see history and you see the glass future. That's one of the most picturesque races that I've seen.
Yeah.
So who gets the point for this one?
So this one,
Twinkle.
Twinkle, just fastest fingers first. Or
Yeah.
so another 10 points there for Twinkle. And with that, we'll move on to our next.
Okay, this is Ferrari.
Monza.
Yes, Twinkle, it is Monza. And why do you say so?
I mean, it is Ferrari, and it is I don't know what it's called. It's called something, but it has some. Yeah,
I can see the
Tifosi,
parabolica.
right?
I can see the parabolica on the image. The turn, the old curve turn, is seen on the left-hand side image on the top right corner. That's the parabolica.
Trying to figure out who the second person.
And I'm not really sure what
Pastor Maldonado, right?
No.
No. Hey, no.
That's
This
Pablo
guy is
Montoya.
Montoya.
Pablo Montoya.
Yeah.
Juan Pablo
so
Montoya.
I don't know what he has to. Yeah, I don't know what he has to do with the Tifosi or with Monza, but
Italian.
Montoya
is an Italian. I'm
Yes,
guessing.
it is
so
Montoya is
Italian
Italian.
connection.
Okay.
No, he's here because he's the fastest man on this track, which is
Oh,
the
wow.
fastest track. He's hit
Wow.
400.
What? 400.
Wow.
Official or unofficial record?
Brilliant.
Please. Because
Sorry?
I believe the official fastest record is hold by Bottas.
Probably. This was, I think, during testing or.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the official fastest record in an F1 car is being held by Bottas.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you know where?
I have another.
In Monza, I believe.
Monza.
In Monza
I
only
mean, it's
he
the
did it.
fastest track, so I would like to guess that.
Yeah. This year, one more history was created in this fastest lap segment, which was Monaco. Max hit the highest speed in Monaco ever, which was 157 or something, 157, 158 average, the highest average speed, which was 157 or 158 kilometers per hour. So that's the fastest in Monaco.
Oh.
The second fastest was, I think I don't remember who, but I remember that it's 154, 155, somewhere like that.
Probably Senna or Prost, right? Not sure.
No, I think it should be after that, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, some interesting facts there. And the reason that first picture in is that's from 1922. Monza continues to be one of the longest running tracks for racing.
Wow.
And even from an F1 perspective, if I remember right, excluding 1 or 2 years in the 1980s, this has always been a track. So it is one of the oldest tracks in the F1 racing circuit itself.
In fact, this is the old track, right? The one with that entire curved turn from the parabolica, which we
I
can
don't think they have the parabolica now, right?
Now,
they closed it up because it was it became very dangerous. Too
bendy for an F1
very
car.
Dangerous, yeah.
And then they made Jeddah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how Miami turns out. Looks good.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, Monza had some other exciting events that happened.
It's I believe it was in this calendar, it was the first time, right? McLaren got a 1-2 in Monza.
Yeah.
After 170 races, they won a GP. That's another trivia.
Yes.
And
so
of
after
course,
170 races.
And of course, I believe it was the second time in after a sprint race that both Hamilton and Max collided. First was Silverstone.
Yep.
So Another trivia.
Yeah. And I think it was also the first 1-2 for a constructor this year. Like we didn't have a 1-2 till
Yep.
then.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
not first. I think the only one to.
Yeah, the only
no,
one to
no.
Actually,
probably.
only 1-2.
The
No,
only
no.
one to. I don't think
1,
anybody
2.
else
Yeah.
had a 1-2.
Only 1-2
Podiums,
is this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah.
1-2. Yeah.
Obviously, that got us to see a tradition that all of us probably would
Shui.
never do ourselves.
Shui.
But the Shui,
Ever wondered how a shoey would taste like?
Yuck. No.
We can go. So, Kazim, for your info, like you, I, Vivek, and Twinkle, we can go for a karting. Who wins? We can then see how a Shui tastes.
no, whoever wins, Kazim can do the Shui.
Yes.
I'm open to it. I would actually love to do a shoey. I want to see like how was it?
I'll be a teetotaler just for the shoey.
Yeah, I don't
But
think.
yeah,
it
what are
would
your
be
takes from the
as-
Monza Grand Prix, right? I mean, obviously the Shui, the McLaren 1-2, interesting scenes.
Yeah, the
the
halo
crash.
saved Lewis. The halo saved
Halo
Lewis.
saved Lewis.
There was
Yeah.
no other way he could have lived after that crash if
Yep.
it happened before the halo era. But thankfully, there
Not-
was the halo, and
Not to be
It turned
dark
out the way
about
it
this,
did.
but I guess like Hamilton would have lived, but he would have
Yeah,
rather been in
okay.
some sort
Yeah.
of a different state, is what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I think
That's what would have happened.
this image, and actually this is probably a second before
Hmm.
that image, which is iconic in terms of him, the wheel resting on top of the halo,
Yeah.
and letting all of us realize how dangerous the
The sport
sport
is.
actually is, and how he was like a millimeter away from certain injuries.
Yeah.
You know, this image
I just
actually,
realized-
gives me a perspective into Hamilton's tattoo. Still we rise.
That
I
was deep.
actually just noticed something. The shoey isn't. I just noticed something. The shoey there isn't really hitting Zach Brown's mouth. It's sort of in his nose.
You know,
So
probably from the Shui, the only time when Daniel Ricciardo forgot a Shui was, I believe, in Spa 2020, when he had actually last year, when he had actually been in the podium positions, and he forgot the Shui in the entire mix-up for
And
the
he didn't
tattoo.
remember it until
Yeah.
a press reporter reminded him, like,
Yes.
and he was like, oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
Yes, because he was more focused on Serial's tattoo than on a Shui.
Which happened, by the way.
Yes.
Finally, he upheld his bargain. Nice of him. Good sport.
Yeah, I think he's always been a good sport that way.
Yeah.
At least he comes across as one.
Yeah, except for the time when probably he took Daniel Ricciardo and the engines away from Red Bull, and he gave a good reply to Christian Horner, telling that, okay, you need a new driver and an engine.
With that, I think I'll anyways give Twinkle another 10 points. And both Kazim and Vignesh, I'm going to give you +5 each for the trivia that you shared.
Okay.
And we will move on to
Brazil,
our last.
Sao Paulo.
It was
This is 2008
2008, I
when
guess.
Hamilton was winning. So this is the circuit, the Sao Paulo circuit. So
And
these two connections, I got it. What is with the Lemon Brothers? I think so.
So those guys crashed. I think they were in the middle of a scam or something. So I'm guessing this has something to do with the
Sao Paulo being shifted to Rio.
Scam.
McLaren gate, some gate they had copied from
Spygate,
Ferrari or
Wait,
something.
just one second. I
Spygate.
think Twinkle's also saying something.
Yeah, no, I was saying that this is the Ferrari McLaren scam,
Spygate.
which
The
happened.
Spygate. Where
Spygate.
Alonso
No, this is not. Okay, the Lehman Brothers was to say it's 2008 because that's when the
Okay.
financial crisis happened.
Oh, the Massa and the Hamilton incident. So Massa wins the race and Hamilton comes, I think so, fifth, and
Is that
these guys are actually celebrating, and then Glock slows down, and that's when the punchline starts. Is that Glock? Is that
Glock slowing down?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yes. You guys have perfectly relived that moment. This is 2008. Lehman Brothers was there because they had the financial crash to give you. That's the Interlagos circuit at the bottom, as Vignesh highlighted. And this is truly that, this is literally a few seconds before Glock basically being on dry tires and not able to get through the wet track and finding it really difficult. And Hamilton had switched onto his wet tires and was gaining onto Glock.
And I believe just before that, so I think so once Hamilton came out of the pits, I think so Vettel overtook him, because of which he came down to the risk zone. And then it was Timo Glock who helped Hamilton reach the...
That is correct. So getting into this race, for historical context, Hamilton was leading the championship.
Yeah.
And Massa would have won the championship if he came first. And Hamilton came sixth or lower.
Sixth or lower.
Oh, sixth or lower. Okay.
Yeah.
And when Massa crossed the finish line, he was first. Hamilton was sixth.
Celebrating.
And you're like, you are world champion. And before they could complete that sentence, Glock basically lost it, slowed down. Hamilton was able to cross over and come in fifth, which meant he came in winning the championship literally by a point. And which is why I was asking all of you to hold your horses, because close wins is something which obviously was a big thing this year, as we spoke earlier about how Abu Dhabi, we had both of them tied in and coming into the final race. Brings in memories of 2008 when Massa technically was a winner for 5 seconds, or the world champion for 5 seconds at least, before he lost that out by 1 point.
Could have been crushing.
To be precise, 2008 was not like 2007 also had a close where you actually have this message from Raikkonen's radio engineering. If we go by my calculation, you are the world champion by 1 point.
1 point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that time we had 3 people contending. It was 110, 109, 109.
Yes. So that's even more closer than compared to the 2000.
Hey, am I on?
Yes.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's a little bit.
My phone died, so I'm just on my laptop.
Cool.
So yeah, Twinkle, any thoughts on close races prior to 2021?
Yeah, I think the only one that I was thinking of was 2007 as well, because this isn't Hamilton's first time losing out by one or 0 points, you know. So yeah, 2007 was also a very close call, and technically 2021 was not racing-based decision, at least Abu Dhabi, but I mean, otherwise it was a pretty interesting season otherwise.
You know, what stands out to me for 2008 is that it was the time in Brazil when Hamilton won against a Brazilian figurehead, and that way you are losing a championship, na, it hurts you more. That was the only time when this picture is when Massa cries, and then he has this that I am a winner, and he shows that actually strikes you more than Hamilton's loss in 2021. It's like yeah, for me it's like how we say, like Senna losing in front of his home crowd, and that's the feeling this 2008
yeah, I mean, this is he's coming up on stage to take his podium, like he's won the race, home ground, but he's lost the championship. Yeah, to your point, there've been a lot of close calls like this. I think one of the most controversial ones in the times that we've been alive would also be Schumacher's first win.
Yeah.
Where he was leading by 1 point getting into that race, into the last race. And he slipped up at a point.
Damon Hill, is that one?
And Damon Hill was able to overtake him, which would mean that Damon Hill could go on to win the championship. And Schumacher sort of crashed into him. There's a lot of controversy around whether there was a racing error or whatever. But at the end of it, both of them basically crashed out, 19th and 20th. So the points stayed the same. And Schumacher went on to become world champion.
I think that's when they brought in the rule changes.
Yeah. in the similar way, I believe like Prost and Senna had actually exchanged 2 championships just on the base of crashes. So this is a fun fact. So I believe it's Suzuka when like 1 year Senna crashed into Prost and Senna won the championship, and the next or the next to next year Prost crashed into Senna and Prost won the championship. So it was like same
That's a
place.
B.
Yeah. But the point is here I actually echoed what Lewis said at the end of the race. Is like this race has been doctored. That's what he knew that okay, it was being manipulated. He said it to Toto. But I would thank FIA and probably Tata Communications for not letting the viewers know that part of the radio message, or else they were very keen to give all people's radio message every race. Not only they just forgot this one, so it might have been doctored.
Yep. I mean, I think this is going to go for years to come, right? The what happened
Yeah.
in those last few minutes made for great racing for viewing audiences that wanted some excitement. In the true spirit of racing, this is always going to remain a huge controversy because it's not in the rule book, but then FIA can always say that Masi has override decision power to decide what's best for the race, right? And what's best for the race is again going to be very open-ended to what does that mean? Because it could mean different things for different people. So I'm going to let that stay at rest because I know that could become an entire conversation in itself and we're not going to get anywhere at the end of it. But any last thoughts that each one of you have from the 2021 season that we had?
No, I think it is what it is.
I would
So
just like to say one thing: we need more clearer rules. I think that would help the sport a lot.
You know, for me, I would say that okay, 2021 was the time when we for the first time saw a team challenging Mercedes. Before Ferrari have tried, Red Bull have tried, but this was the first time when Mercedes got an external competition. Before that, I believe in Abu Dhabi when 2016, when Nico Rosberg was supposed to win, it was Hamilton who was like slowing down his car, trying to form a trail so that people can overtake Rosberg and he can win the championship. So probably at the same place as Fernando Alonso once said to probably who was that Stoffel Van Dorn, karma. So Hamilton got the karma back 5 years later in 2021, where his championship was robbed because of a decision. But overall, it was a exciting season, as said by
yeah.
Kazim. Netflix, please do fire all your people. You have FIA and you have Masi. You can pay them and they can do your job. And of course, if any other problem comes, they will have an investigation where Masi is proceeding and he'll say that, okay, I am what I have done is right.
Yep. No, with that, obviously 2021, excluding a lot of the drama that we discussed, was one of the closest. And the reason why all that drama plays such a big role is because it was one of the closest battles that we have seen in recent years. And a lot of excitement, a lot of ups and downs. This is also one of the years where the swap, I think the most number of swaps that have happened between first and second place in recent history is also true in terms of Hamilton being on top, then Verstappen being on top, then Hamilton being on top, then Verstappen being on top, and then both of them being tied before we got into the final race.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, 2021 for me would be a remembrance of the F1's new award, the most overtaking award, where I believe Sebastian Vettel got what 1 million marshmallows or peanuts. That's what he asked for, jellies or something. That's what he asked in the radios. But yeah, it brought some great sense of overtaking, especially seeing the three Formula One legends, Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, and Kimi Raikkonen on the top of the overtakes, show that it's not only the youth which matters, but if you have the talent and if you have stayed so long, you can actually show how what a overtake is and how to do it.
Yep. And I think all of
Yeah.
this sets us up for a brilliant 2022 coming soon in March with Bahrain. A lot of new rules coming into it. So, we're all going to be excited to see what did that mean in terms of how the cars come out. and a lot of changes have happened. And in our next pre-season catch-up that we have, we can give all our viewers a background of, a lot of drivers have changed colors, racing colors, I would say.
Yeah.
And we can give you a background of what that racing grid looks like and what are some of the rules and what could that mean for an exciting 2022 that we have lined up. With that, thanks a lot once again to all our panelists, Twinkle, Kazim, Vignesh, for taking your time out, quizzing with us. I think I kind of forgot the scores, but I think at the end of it, I would say Twinkle and Vignesh are probably tied.
Yeah.
For all the answers that you got, plus the trivia that you threw in. And like I said at the start, the points don't really matter. Hopefully everyone enjoyed. And if our viewers, you have any questions, doubts, put it down in the comments. Standard, any YouTuber would say, share, like, subscribe, let your friends know, and we'll be happy to hear from all of you. Thanks a lot once again, and Happy New Year to everyone.
And if you have any complaints regarding the channel, please use the communication channel and call Vivek. He'll resolve it in his own investigation.
Yes.
And I don't think there could have been a better end to the F1 quiz. It's also tied.
Tie.
And
The only difference. The only difference is in real F1, it was Mercedes and Red Bull. It's now Mercedes and Ferrari. So yeah, we satisfied all the bases.
Yeah. Well, technically.
As of now, only three teams have announced the dates for their challenger reveal, right? I'm guessing Merc,
Yes.
Aston, and then Ferrari. Do we have anybody
else? This one,
No,
80. AlphaTauri had said, right? They are putting a shakedown. So shakedown means they are going to reveal their car. So they have given a date of the shakedown.
Okay.
So
interesting. I didn't see that on
correct.
the page.
Yeah. In fact, Mercedes is also doing the same thing, right? They are using the same day for the shakedown, 100-kilometer shakedown.
Okay.
So it's a car reveal and shakedown. I think so. Ferrari is only doing the car reveal, and then it is planning to do a shakedown some other day. And McLaren is also doing a car reveal and shakedown some other day. So
okay. Cool. So do you guys
Yeah,
think the
we
silver
can
livery
go
will
on.
come back?
Yeah.